In the previous instructional activity, we looked at a framework for making problem behavior irrelevant, ineffective, and inefficient. Now we're going to look at some additional examples. Please keep in mind that these are just examples of how to generate intervention ideas. These examples are not intended to be any forms of standard of practice. So in this example, we have the following antecedents. Basically, the student is told that they're not allowed to use a computer, turn the computer off, or an iPad, some type of electronic device, which results in problem behavior, and then results in a variety of different consequences between trying to explain when the computer would be available, told when the computer is, ignoring, asked to calm down, loss of privileges, rescinding the original denial and allowing the iPad, and use of timeout. So take a second. What do you think would be the function of this behavior? Okay, in this example, our determination is that the behavior's function is to get something intangible. Now, if we took additional data points, could that determination change? Possibly, but based on the information that we have right now, our best educated guess is that the function of this behavior is to get something intangible. Our first step then is to really think about, okay, what would make problem behavior irrelevant, essentially presenting problem behavior. So for this, one maybe simple solution would be to remove the computer from the classroom. Next, we want to look at how we can make problem behavior ineffective, and that is, how can we prevent how easy it is for problem behaviors to attain its desired objective. So in this example, what we decide to do is just give one explanation and then ignore for 3 minutes. Then, if problem behavior still persists, we administer a timeout. The final piece to using the intervention framework is really to think about how we can make desired behavior more efficient than problem behaviors at attaining desired reinforcement. So in this example, what was decided to do was to teach the student when to ask for the computer or iPad and electronic devices. Basically, when can those items be requested, and then we reinforce at those times at a high rate in order to trap the behavior and build up momentum that the desired behavior is used. Now, one of the things you may have picked up by us moving through this example is that really by using this framework, we are just organizing a set of interventions and producing a technically sound behavior modification program. And that's what this framework is intended to do. The other thing that you may have picked up on is that this model can readily be applied to a traditional positive behavior support format. So in this example, the antecedent prevention strategy would be to remove the computer from the classroom. The behavioral strategy would be to teach the student when the computer or electronic device is available. Consequences when the student performs a desired behavior would be to reinforce appropriate requesting to use electronic device at a high rate. And then finally, the consequences that would be used when the student performs the behavior of concern would be to give one explanation and ignore for 3 minutes, and then administer a timeout. One thing I'd like to point out is that it may not be necessary to use the entire framework for each behavior of concern. For instance, if you have a student that say is misbehaving and engaging in a lot of problem behaviors in the presence of one student, then simply moving that student's seat may be enough to prevent that problem behaviors, and you wouldn't necessarily need to think in terms of making the problem behavior inefficient and ineffective. So please keep that in mind. But if you do have significant and ongoing behavior concerns, then using the entire framework will help you develop a more technically sound behavior program and in effect increase the probability of success. Now we're going to move on to another example. So please take a second and review the information presented on your screen and determine what you feel would be the function of behavior. Okay, so in this example, we have determined that the function of behavior is to escape or to get out of a task. Now, again, similar to the example in number one, if we collected additional data points, certainly a possibility where there could be another function, but based on this information, this is our best guess, and this is going to drive the interventions that we develop and implement. Now, the first thing we want to do is to consider how we can make problem behavior irrelevant, essentially prevent the behavior, prevent the likelihood of the behavior occurring. And two possible suggestions would be to provide the student with prepared copies of the vocabulary words that are already typed in advance, or modify handwriting seat work. Next, the team looked at how to make problem behavior ineffective. So in this example, it was decided that when the behavior occurs, that the student would work one-on-one with a teacher's aide or the teacher or any other available staff, and then basically maintain that task requirement and not remove it or modify it after the behavior of concern is performed. So next we are going to look at how to make desired behaviors more efficient than problem behaviors. And this is just one option that we have for this example. Here, the student is taught the replacement behavior of asking for breaks. And this is a rather common replacement behavior used to treat escape-related behaviors, and it is appropriate. Allowing breaks is essentially allowing escape, which is the purpose of behavior. So essentially what we are saying to the student is this, that instead of using problem behaviors to meet your needs, we're going to allow you to meet your needs through a more appropriate behavior that is acceptable to us. So what happens if it's not possible to reinforce a student's replacement behavior in most circumstances? Well, in this case, you will need to select a new replacement behavior that you can readily reinforce. So in this example, the individual or individuals developing the behavior program determined that breaks cannot be allotted whenever the student asks for breaks. So therefore, they have to come up with something else. What is another suitable replacement behavior? And the team decides to teach the student to request the computer to type handwritten assignments and then reinforce that behavior at a high rate. That is something that is more doable and more feasible to do in a variety of circumstances. The team also decides that work passes will be provided to the student for every 3 handwriting assignments completed. So therefore, they're increasing the value of doing a desired behavior, which is handwriting. Again, the aim of the examples is to illustrate how to use the intervention framework in order to develop strategies to address challenging behavior. Please understand that there are many intervention possibilities. So when addressing persistent challenging behavior, we want to collect antecedent behavior consequence data and determine the function of the behavior of concern. We want to devise strategies that prevent problem behavior from occurring and limit the effectiveness and efficiency of problem behavior at attaining reinforcement. We also want to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of desired behavior to obtain reinforcement.